Welcome to the Mama's Den. This is your only host, Ashely. I have taken over. No, I'm kidding.
I am the captain.
Why are you like? But also not with that voice.
It's my show now, ladies. No, we're here today, and
We don't know what we're talking about today.
And that's okay.
and healing and friendships. You know, I have to tell you guys a story, okay? Everyone introduce themselves, and I'm gonna tell you this story.
Okay.
Hurry.
Hi, I'm Cody. What do you want? You want kids? You want age?
I want you.
Lord, she's wilding.
What is happening today?
I don't know.
It's the anniversary special we're going.
Yeah, it's the Chea anniversary.
It's the Chea anniversary special. Happy anniversary to the Cheas.
Thank you.
How many years is this, Ashely?
Well, we have been legally married for 8 years, but we have been together, committed for 15 years, guys.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long
I love
time.
them.
Okay.
Not that laugh. What is happening?
I don't know. Cody, tell us about yourself. Who are you? How many children do
I
you
am
have?
Cody Elaine Oliver. I have 3 children. I had to think about it. Brooks, who is 7, and Aristotle and Langston, who are almost 5.
Melanie?
Any other details you'd like to give us?
The babies are Scorpios like they mama,
I didn't know that.
because my birthday is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And Brooks is a Libra, like my daddy.
Oh,
Who he's
my
named
dad's,
after.
my dad's a Libra too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and he's
It's my
named
second
after your dad,
favorite.
and they're the same.
I love it.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
How cute.
Hey, I'm Melanie. I have 2 kids, 7-year-old Cameron, a 1.5-year-old Chea, and
Zodiac signs.
Zodiac signs. My children are, my son is a Pisces, and my daughter is a Sagittarius. I am a Cancer Sagittarius, so that would be Cancer Sun, Cancer Rising, Sagittarius Moon, and my husband is a Gemini, which means there's 4 of him in the relationship. We love him. We love all of them.
I am Felicia. I have Peace, who is 9, Zen, who is 7. No,
Pause.
Zen
The
is
fact
not
that you say
7.
peace is 9,
That's
I'm not
crazy.
prepared.
Yeah.
I feel like peace is 7 in my head, by the way.
I know. Why did I just say Zen is 7? Zen is 4. I'm like, oh. That's
Think
second
about how
child.
peace.
I know. Peace. But why is it that the age 9 just feels so grown?
It
does.
is.
Because
was
it's
like-
almost double digits.
Yeah.
And she's switching over from that little girl vibe to now, like, I mean, you will have the most beautiful. You guys already have a beautiful relationship, but you are just going to see. It's just so amazing to watch them blossom.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I'm like, woo. Okay, so Peace is a Libra, my little Libra girl. And then Zen is an Aquarius.
You got air signs.
Aquarius. Yeah, Zen
Air
is definitely
signs.
an air sign. And then I am a Scorpio, double Scorpio Sag, so I'm emotional.
You're a double Scorpio Sag?
God.
Oh,
you should have led with
Okay,
that.
wait.
I know this.
Actually, I know you have to do yours too, but can y'all explain the double?
So your big 3, for anyone
Okay.
listening, is your sun, which is like when your birthday is, your rising. And by the way, all of these extra things are all based off of the time and place you were born.
Yeah.
But your big 3 typically is what they say make up your true personality. So that's your sun, your rising, and your moon. So that's what. So the double is for me and Felicia is that both our sun signs are Cancer and Scorpio. Our rising signs are also Cancer and Scorpio. So then when you say we're a double, that's what that means. Yes. But I didn't realize that you were a Sag too, Sag moon.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Chea's well, he's a Libra, but everything else in his chart is Sagittarius. His rising, his moon, I think like his Venus, a lot of planets. It's a lot.
It's a lot of planets. And what about you?
Oh, my name is Ashely. I am a Capricorn with a Leo rising and a Pisces moon. So I'm like mean and nice at the same time.
This is true.
This is very you.
Yes, nice balance. Amira is a Pisces. She's 14. Azara is a Virgo with a Cancer moon. So she crazy as hell, just like her mama. She's mean and nice at the same time too. And she is 7, which is crazy. Asia is a Gemini, and she has a Virgo moon. She crazy as hell too, and she's 5. And then Tata is a Sagittarius with a Cancer moon. So she's also crazy. All my daughters are crazy like their mama. They're just nuts.
Which one of them is mostly like their dad?
Oh, Amira and Asia are just like their father.
I was gonna say, Amira, I feel like when I look at her, I feel like I'm always looking at your husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
She has a good balance of Chea and I. She processes information the way Chea does, but she has more of my personality. Like, she's more outgoing like I am. We're both very intuitive of people's feelings and emotions, can like assess needs before they need them. You know, you saw her on the set. She's just like, thinks 10 steps ahead. She's
Her
really
mannerisms
dope.
is very Chea.
Yes.
Like the way she like stands and walks and holds her body.
You
It's
know
so
what
cool.
she does? She rides for her dad, and it's very annoying.
Ooh, yeah.
She rides
Very
for her daddy.
annoying. Wait till y'all's kids start doing that. Like, if me and Chea have a disagreement.
Wait, I'm experiencing this
Yeah.
every
Yeah,
single
I was
day.
like, that's
Definitely
Peace
does that.
definitely.
But she'll do this though. She'll be like, you know, Mom, I don't think Dad meant it that way. I'll be like, little girl, if you don't take your ass to my kitchen, because I'm tell you how I meant it. I meant that shit just how I said it. All y'all getting on my motherfucking nerves. No, I mean, it's lovely, but yes, daughters will get your ass in check. That is one thing about a daughter.
No.
Would color yourself lucky.
Color yourself lucky.
Yeah, because I feel like boys love their mom, but girls will challenge the hell out of you. Like, let me show you what you need to work on immediately.
But boys are like that too.
Really?
Hell yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my
Yeah.
son.
I'm like, don't you feel like they both teach you something about yourself?
My son, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, my son was my only for 6 years. So he definitely was the one that was teaching me a lot about myself and just seeing like his outlook on life and just seeing, and now he's got like a real personality, like, and he can't hold water. This is the other thing about Cameron. God bless you. Oh, he can't hold water. Don't give that child no secrets, no codes,
Yeah,
nothing.
none.
He's giving them all away because he's such a free, open book
Yeah.
that he doesn't understand.
He's
Like,
so
so the
sweet.
other day, Jared and I got into an argument in the car. And we get to all the way to his baseball game, and he gets on the bench. And I've thought to myself, I was like, should I tell him, don't share what does
heard.
this boy do? He gets on because, sorry, I was late, guys. My mom and dad were. I literally went and it hit him in the shoulder. I was like, Kim, and he looked like, oh right, okay, family
Oh,
secrets.
he is
like,
funny.
Oh no, he was literally just like ready to just tell the whole world. Yeah, my mom and dad were fighting. Oh yeah, no problem.
And here's what they were talking about.
Here's what they were talking about. And my dad said my mom was doing this, and my mom said my dad was doing this, and I don't know, it's crazy. But
That's hilarious.
them kids will absolutely call you out. My daughter already, I mean, we've talked about this before. My daughter at 1.5 years is already showing me the work that I need to do to be prepared for when she can actually communicate, speak,
yeah.
when she can talk back, fight back, because I just know her personality. I see it. And it's interesting because I often now more so am identifying with this like healed version of myself where I've gone through stuff. I've learned how to communicate differently. I've learned more compassion, more empathy, these things. But a lot of it, when I look at her and I'm like, why are you like that? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like that. I actually instinctively inside am like that, have that bite, have that fire. And so now I'm the mom. I'm not the kid anymore. So now I have to see that. So these kids, my daughter, like I definitely think my son came to like teach me a lot, I think, about life. He's just a very wise old soul. My daughter came to literally hold me up in front of the mirror. And
Yeah.
like, how much have you done? How much more do you need to do? And show up for me in that way as well for yourself.
Yeah.
Show up for yourself that way so that I can actually reap the benefit of that.
Oh God, that's so deep. I feel very similar that, but Zen. With him, I learned. That's why I always say like, Marnisha. Did you guys call Marnisha yet?
Who's Marnisha?
No,
Marnisha is the behavior
I
therapist.
will. I will share why I'm
She-
waiting, but go ahead.
So she is like, to watch her with Zen and teach him how to. I have very big emotions. Very big emotions.
Really?
Yes. But
I hear her say Scorpio, Sagittarius.
I was being an asshole.
We know, Ashley. We're prefacing it for the people at home.
I was being an ass.
Really?
We all do. It's fine. Go ahead.
But with Zen, he also has huge emotions and he doesn't know how to manage them. So with Marnisha, when she's teaching him and I'm just watching, I'm like, oh, so that's how I need to handle it. I was like, yeah, that's the class that my mom definitely skipped out. She didn't show up. She didn't show up to that lesson of like how to manage emotions. So I feel like with Zen, when the things that he teaches me are like the harder parts that are like harder to shake. Pieces things are more of like be free and like the butterfly parts.
Second child situation.
Maybe because but that mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
child.
Do you feel like you, Cody, have a child that is like very reflective of you?
You know, I've been reflective of me. Definitely the twins, like both of them. Like Brooks is Tommy and Aristotle and Langston are me, and don't nobody tell Tommy I said that. Okay?
all hundreds of
I
thousands
mean, they
of you
definitely
listening.
they all share both of us, but that's really the delineation there. And so the babies they're definitely like, I mean, Aristotle and Langston, who don't want me to call them babies.
Right.
I'm working on it, guys. They're definitely more sensitive. Oh my god, they're just like lovey-dovey, big emotion. Like if they mad, it's over the top. If they're happy, it's over the top in a really nice way. And so, you know, that's me. And I feel like the thing is, with all of my kids, I feel like what they've forced me to do is just like be more present. It's not like I'm looking at myself like I feel like I have a certain amount of self-awareness. And so with them, I'm not like shocked by seeing me. Where they force me to pay attention is just like to be more present.
Yeah.
Because I'm like going in every aspect. But that's the one place where I'm like, oh, if I keep going, I'm going to miss the parade and I'm going to miss the pickup and I'm going to miss like all the things.
Yep.
So I'm just trying to listen.
No, I mean, I feel that way too. I think that when what you said was like made me like feel compassion and just love and understanding, because I feel like the big emotion thing, that's how I was as a child. Like I had big feelings. Everything was big. And Azara and Asia both are like that. And I don't have a Marnisha, but I do have like a Miisha. And there's a lot
Did
of...
you say a me,
a
Isha?
Miisha.
I got a me, Isha.
Myself. But I would love even that additional help, because I feel like because my mom also skipped that class, there was a lot of labeling of my behavior and not acknowledging it and it wasn't intentional. Like, shout out to my mom.
I think
she
that's
always,
a generation.
Yes.
For sure.
No one recognized or knew how to deal with her feelings. So, you know, a lot of times your parents will label you as something and you start to believe that is who you are. And you can either find comfort in that and just like, this is who I am. I have an attitude problem or blah, blah, blah. But it really was like my sister, even my ex, but then like Chea, who was like, I remember one time my ex was like, dude, you have an attitude problem. And I mean, I just, of course, what do you do when someone tells you you have attitude?
Go attitude. How dare you? You want to see attitude?
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Exactly. But it feels very triggering when someone says something about you, because you know, I always tell people, same thing with anger. People don't have attitude problems. People are not angry. It's masking something else.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to articulate myself of feeling vulnerable or lonely or unheard, or just like, I am a middle child. There's like no point where I was like ever special. There's like 5 pictures of me as a child. You know what I mean? And so I think that
That one little boy one. That little one.
What
that
did your
little
mama
one.
call you?
That little one.
Andre.
That's one of
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Even for her to say like, I cut your hair because I didn't feel like doing you and your sisters, is very much like, well, damn.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a person, you know? But that was a part of my big feelings. And so when my kids are going through that, I'm like, okay, what is happening right now? You're not feeling heard. Something else is going, like trying to get them to identify that, recognize it, acknowledge it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the healing for me.
That reminds me. Have y'all heard of the emotion wheel? Really?
I don't think so.
What's
okay,
that?
I'm like the wokest women I know. Okay, I'll pull it up in a second.
I think I came across it recently.
It's basically like there's a small circle of emotions, right? So like, let's say anger, joy, whatever, and then it's like the things, like you were saying, that it's masking, the things that are really underneath it, and it keeps going in like various layers. So there's more and more words. And it's funny because obviously grown-ups need this, because we need to be like, oh, I'm angry. What does that really mean? What do I identify with that I can articulate to my friend or my partner or whatever?
Yeah.
But I was talking to somebody the other day who was talking about their child and how they had to use the emotion wheel for their child.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that's genius.
Yeah.
Because we have Color Monster. We have 2 books.
I love the Color Monster.
But my kids, Langston and Aristotle, because Brooks didn't need it. Langston and Aristotle, literally, we've read it so many times. Erica loves it, because they'll be like, you know,
I have another book too.
I'm feeling a little blue and a little yellow. And that's how they articulate
visual.
how they
Fire.
feel.
It's visual.
That's fire.
So there's
I love
there's
shit
2
like
books
this.
that I love about emotions. One is the Color Monster, and it's great because it's a pop-up. Is yours
No, ours isn't a pop-up.
ours-
but I love a pop-up.
I have a pop-up one where like it's great. Kaya's also destroyed the pop-ups, but of
course. Exactly.
of course. But like the last page is love, and she ripped all the hearts out.
yeah, it
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome. But
Girl, my kids used to do that.
so-
Ashley bought them books that you can't rip. Because that's how much they were.
Oh yeah,
Well, I
no,
remember
you
they
know
were
that-
tearing up
the
books. I
What are
remember.
they
This is
called?
it?
Indestructibles.
Yeah.
Yes, the Color
Indestructibles.
Monster.
Yeah, that's the Color
And then there's
Monster.
another book called In My Heart.
Oh,
Did we have that with the hearts?
Yes.
Yeah.
In My Heart. I used to love to read that to Cameron when he was small
Yeah.
just because I was like, oh, I love this book so much. I think it is really important to recognize that we also too can learn from the simplicities
Yeah.
of what our children are
100%.
going
Man,
through.
heck
100%.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's really, really important. But that is very, very important. I think at an early stage, and I think that's something that didn't exist. I think when we were kids about a book,
No.
like
Most
we were
things
talking about.
didn't
You were talking about, I
exist.
think, green eggs and ham,
Oh,
and it was
yeah.
like he said no from the first page.
Girl.
why is it 36 more pages about him pressuring this man to eat these green eggs and ham? He said no.
that book.
and
I hated that book as a kid.
and that's a thing. Like that's a real thing. So I love that there's now more
Yeah.
books to serve the important parts of what it is to be a child with big emotions.
Yeah.
Or a person
or a
with big
person with big
emotions.
emotions. And on that too, like I think it's, and I want to pose this question to you guys is like, how do you feel you differ in being able to control your emotions in like work, personal relationships? As a parent, do you feel like you are consistent throughout, or do you feel like there's different versions of you? Because like, for example, I remember once seeing this conversation between James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni, and they're having this conversation, and she's just like, well, you know, you can go out there in the world and lie to everybody else, and you can show up and grin and bear it for them, but when you come home to me, you got to be mad, and I got to take the
Yeah.
brunt of what you
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
And
yeah.
she's like, so lie to me too. And I found it so profound to hear her say that, because it's just like, if you could fake it with all those people to hold, you know, respectful boundaries and hold your tongue and not lose your cool, well, exercise the same respect and lie and fake for me. And I always found that really interesting, that we kind of, depending on who it is and where we are, have to be different people. Like I want to cry sometimes from my kids, but I know I can't. Like I want to sit there and be like, God, like what am I not getting? You know, but
Why can't you?
why can't you?
Why, well,
What
I'm
way-
asking, do you feel like you can't?
No, it's just that it's just that I realize it's like, sometimes you just recognize that's not.
It's not gonna
It's
serve
not going to
you.
serve the
Yeah,
purpose.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
to say that I
Okay.
don't feel safe to.
Okay, okay.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
different. But just like if I'm in a moment of a teachable moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
sometimes even if I'm figuring it out, you know, even though inside I might feel frustrated. So in other situations, so I'm talking to my husband, like I have no chill on the emotions. The emotions
Yeah.
are going, what? I just, but I know where that comes from. That comes from like this trigger from my mom and wanting to feel seen and
Yeah.
heard and understood, you know? So do you find that you're able to exercise different versions of yourself emotionally based off of like who you're with and who you're dealing with?
I've had to learn that for sure. And I'm still learning that. Growing up in my household, like emotions were not a good thing. Like you're not allowed to have emotions. Like you cry too much. It's always something. Cause I've always been, me and my brother and my sister, all three of us are super sensitive. We'll cry over every little thing, but we weren't allowed to. So I always felt like, for somebody that's so emotional the way that I am, and having to like stuff that, I still have my moments where, oh, I didn't realize that was still stuffed in there. Like, oh, I didn't realize I thought I worked through this thing, but something happened to where, you know, now it's me exploding. So I don't know. I feel like, but the lesson that Zen is learning right now with the emotions is literally what I'm learning at the same exact time, you know? So it's interesting. I don't know if that answered anything. I guess I just wanted to say
so
something.
for example, like in you know, you Fee,
I was like, what you say? What did you ask? What you say?
I just want to talk.
Fee, you have your brand, like you're a businesswoman. You've built this thing like a baby, right? From the ground up. And so when you are dealing with outlets and designers and people who, you know, whatever it is, like, do you find that you get emotional? Because have you ever seen, you don't see, have you ever seen this meme where it's funny, where it's just like, I don't know how lawyers don't cry in court. Cause I would definitely, like, as many times in my life, people have been like, you should have been a lawyer. I'll be like, I know I can't, cause I will cry.
Yeah.
I will cry. Like I will cry. And I know that I am very emotional all the way through, which is something that I'm learning how to not be.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to hear you say in work, you're like, oh no, it's business.
That's
Well,
funny.
it depends on the type of work. So if it's like the clothing aspect, I don't, because it's very like step 1, step 2, step 3, like it's very, but in these
Systematic.
type of environments where I'm having to interact with people on like a vulnerable level, then it's not at, like I still know how to do it, but it definitely, in this space, I have to be vulnerable.
It's more personal than
Yeah. I think that's exactly what it is. But
You know what? I am the same way all the time. That is like that's my hubris,
Yeah.
though. You know what I mean? Because I've
Good
never.
word.
Thank you.
Come on, writer.
No, took a lot of philosophy classes. But no, I think that is actually something that I've struggled with because I do not know how to be different in different settings
same.
sometimes. I am pretty much me all the time, whether I'm at Nationwide, at the Mama's Den, with my husband. But that also gives people who aren't deserving of that energy power over me sometimes because they think that, oh, she's feeling this way with me, like that she cares more. But it's never about the person, it's about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's about me and my experiences and me feeling a need to be heard. I actually just got into like a really bad argument with a friend, and we're not friends anymore, because he felt a way about me, right? And I'm like, I just was so disturbed at the thought of him even feeling this way about me. He just felt like I was disloyal because I am such a compartmentalizer. It's very easy for me to understand everybody's feelings. Like, this is like a great thing about me. Chea is always like, you should have been a psychiatrist. And I'm like, no, because when people don't listen to me, I would fire them. I done told you this shit 3 sessions ago. Why are you still here?
Right. I don't want you as a client anymore. Go find someone else.
You watch Shrinking, right?
Yes, exactly. I
Get
would
somebody else to do
I
it.
would be that kind of shrink, like on
It's
Shrinking.
like, if you don't dump your husband,
Right, that would be
Shrinking.
me.
I kind of
Yes.
wish more therapists would be like
was
that.
so
I'll be
good.
honest.
Well,
As long as I
you
trust you
know,
enough to
I
give me
would
that
not
advice.
be rich because I'll be like, we already discussed this session. Why are you here? I already said, leave your man. No, but I feel like because of that, it can also make people feel, not that I'm disingenuine, but that like a lot of people need a certain type of validation, right? In relationships and feeling. And that's not how my brain processes anything. Like with my husband, my mom, if you do something wrong, I'm going to be like, okay, I love you, but you're wrong. Do you know what I mean? But a lot of people don't want that. They want you to
just support them.
Yes,
Yeah.
but to me that is support. I feel like
Absolutely.
the more I
Yeah.
love you, the more honest I am. Like, yo, my nigga, you are very wrong right now.
Yeah.
But I love you.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
true love. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I feel like that is true love is when you're
Yes.
telling me the things that I don't want to hear to help me grow and expand.
because
I'm like,
I love you.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because you see, for me, I see how to operate at a higher self, right? And I'm trying to do that every day. And so if I see my friend in a deficit or something, I'm like, but if you just do this,
Yeah.
you will unlock this next level and we can be on here together. You know what I mean? But that doesn't work for everyone. So I think I'm actually just more so learning where to put my energy, where the extra effort needs to go, where the extra tear needs to go, and really just pull back like, you know what, this situation isn't even worth it. I don't even need to be that person.
Can we talk about when you do finally realize that and then you have to pull back like it's actually quite sad because when
very.
you pull up and you're like, I'm going to save this tear, then you realize like, damn, well, nobody really shed in a tear. Like I was the one that was going over the halfway mark. Am I making sense?
Yes, for
you know?
sure.
And
For
so
sure.
I'm like, that space in between there is, it's
hard.
uncomfortable.
Or also just after it happens and then you were like, why did I cry in front of that person? Or why did I express that emotion? Because that's how I felt after arguing with this guy. I'm like, you don't even care.
Yeah.
And I was so mad.
Like,
and
you didn't
sad and
deserve
hurt.
that.
No,
Yeah.
like I
Right.
realized there was a huge disconnect and we're never going to be on the same page. Like I just wasted an hour's worth of energy when I should have just let you go. Like it's
Yeah.
fine. You don't have to understand me. You can think whatever you want about me because you're hell bent on not understanding me.
Yeah.
And there's
It's
like a
people's
quote about
lack of
that.
desire to
Yes.
do the same
Yes,
that you're
that
trying
part.
to do.
Yes.
That's like exhausting, and then you're like, okay, then it's hard because that's in your nature.
This is something that we're working on in my relationship right now is we got a what is it called? A therapist for
Couples therapist.
Couples
Yeah.
therapist.
Yeah.
She is the bomb.
You be always
Phoebe
finding
finding
out.
the bomb therapist.
Do you go
Baby,
through
when I
five to
tell
get
you,
there?
My
or
mom
is this
missed
the
a
first
lot
one?
of classes growing up, so I had a lot of
You're like, I
catching
need
up
a
to
therapy for
But what is
cooking.
this website that you
Man.
find all these good
No,
therapists
I just
on?
ask my therapist.
Yeah.
I'm all, and I
Oh,
and
that's
she's
good.
like,
she's the connect.
she is the plug.
Shout
I
out
tell her
to
all the time, I'm like, I love you. Like, you have changed my life in so many ways. Like, she's incredible. But the couples therapist was telling us, wait, what was I saying before that?
I don't know.
Damn it.
You're
She
talking about-
was talking about pulling up, when you kind of pull back because somebody doesn't.
But you just said something and that
Yes.
made her remember.
I was agreeing with you. I don't know.
You said.
Oh, okay. So this is what we're learning is like, okay, if I want to shed that extra tear, like, right? So do you just accept that person is like that, or do you you make the adjustments? Like, how do you know when to make the adjustment and how do you know when to make the adjustment and when to walk away? Like, how do you find the balance of those two things? Because sometimes I'm like, okay, this person is a good person. They're trying their best in their way, but you know, you get what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's case by case, person by
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
season by season.
Yeah.
Like, I literally had to walk away from a friendship I've been friends with this person for, I don't know, 30 years, 30 plus. I mean, now it was like 6 years ago. So whatever, 25 years or something. But a person that like I love, who I would call my sister, but the way that she operated was like hell bent on sort of like self-sabotage.
yeah.
You know, and it's like I had to recognize the need to love her from afar. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like I don't love you.
Yeah.
But we can't keep doing the same thing that we're doing, because then I end up getting hurt.
Yep.
And so I had to like create that boundary.
Yeah.
And it's like the one example that I have, because for me, it's like, it doesn't, like, look, if you've done it 100 times, great. If you've done it 5 times, fine. But for me, it's like, that's such a clear example of like, I just had to draw the line and continuously draw it, even when sometimes it feels bad or it feels like it still hurts. That was 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
you guys
real.
know that, shout out to Crystal, because we've made amends, but my friend Crystal and I, we fell out for 2 years because we just had a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
But also, it was also me like trying to insert my opinion on how she should live and having a higher moral ground when it's like, girl, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you're not perfect, Ashely. And so I think it took us 2 years to come back together, but also like I've been in therapy. She's been in therapy. And a lot of times you can't come back from those friendship breaks. But I think because the one clear thing that I could say that made me come back to her and not some other friendships is that when I looked at it, she had never done anything to harm me. She had never done anything to make me feel unsafe. It was simply me imposing my opinion on her that I felt like she should live by, and her being like not agreeing with me. But then me taking a step back and understanding why she was making the choices she was making and having grace for her. So when we came back together, I also came from a space of like apologizing for how I made the relationship become destructive and not really focusing on what she did, but me just calling her like, yo, I recognize where I let you down as a friend and where I could have been better. And I don't even need you to explain anything you've ever done to me. Like, I want you to know that I realize that you're not the only one who was wrong.
Yeah.
Because it was important for me. And we have been so good ever since. Like, we have rebuilt our relationship. It's very beautiful. It's very honest. It's very raw and real. And I feel like that's also an indication, is like sometimes people need space, but also you can tell based on, I always go back to, did this person ever intentionally harm me or hurt me?
Yeah.
And even in a situation where you're talking to someone, like, is this person a safe person? Like, that is an easy way to gauge, like, do I need to give this energy to them?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
understanding who you're dealing with and why you're dealing with them. Some relationships have to be surfaced. If it's just business, whatever, like, it doesn't deserve all of that personal.
Yeah.
Because that's not even what it is.
I think there's like nuances there too, because I think there's something really important that you said, which is you were able to recognize where you contributed to the downfall of the relationship and the friendship, because you had accountability, you apologized, and you took inventory of who that person was to you as a friend.
Yes.
You know, similarly in a different way, like I had a friend who was very much I considered like a sister. She's probably the only adult friendship I've had where I've literally fallen out with, like, ever completely.
Yeah.
Which is really crazy because we were like family, and that's very, very hard. It was like a messy divorce. It was really, really weird. But the thing is, and then, you know, we posted about this the other day, like, somebody's not calling you because they owe you an apology.
Yeah. I think we all reposted it.
Yeah,
Huh?
repost. You know, and it's interesting because to your point, it's like I can look at this person and say, this person was a good friend to me, but then I can also look at the ways and be like, they weren't a good friend to me, but also still have compassion for the fact that, like, I actually don't think that you intended to hurt me, but I actually know so much about you that I have compassion for the way that you don't even see yourself operating in this life.
That's real.
So that has actually helped me make peace with letting go of the anger I think
Yeah.
I felt towards her for many years, because I definitely felt so hurt. And I was like, no, you knew what you were doing. And then after I was like, wait a second, you know this person intimately, very, very closely. You know why they operate like that.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
not just you. They do
Yeah.
this with everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it really allowed for me to make peace with that. And like, even through the hardest parts and the, you know, the realities that came to surface of that relationship, as much as I could still feel hurt, I don't feel angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't feel angry. And it's really interesting to be able to like get to a place where you recognize that like not everything has to be have all that energy.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, all right, this is where it ends.
I have a question. So in that moment, for you to get to that space, what did you learn or what did you gain from your guys' friendship?
Oh my gosh, so much. I mean, we did a lot of really amazing personal and professional things together. And, you know, it was really just honoring the fact that it was just like one doesn't take away from the other.
Yeah.
One does not take away from the other.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the way we broke as friends is one thing, but we had really amazing
This was
moments
real.
together as
This
well.
was
And
real.
it was real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And out of the respect and honor for that, I will always carry
Yeah.
that and always have a respect for that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the part where people miss, because then
They throw it all away.
Yeah,
you
you
throw it
start
all
talking
away.
bad about somebody.
Yeah, and it's like
it's
this-
not, you don't need to do all that.
Exactly.
Right.
Like these things never happen, but the only way that we're really, it's actually something I'm learning in school right now. And I was like, dang, I never even saw it like that. The only way to actually like get over and have that peace with it is being able to identify, what did this relationship teach me? What was my experience? And holding on to that and then releasing. But then if you only focus on, I'm like, if I focus on the thing that I know that you do with everybody else in life, like how could I take this personally? Like what made me
Yes.
feel like I was exempt, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
But that, whew,
But
child.
you know what? That also, there's like a flip side to that, because I've always been that way. I'm such a realist. Like I would never front on somebody or be like, that also sometimes makes it harder for me to let things go, because I will look at the totality of someone and be like, but they do all these good things and this one bad thing, but that one bad thing can be enough.
But
to be
usually
like,
that's what you're doing
Yeah.
throughout the relationship.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Is that you're like, you see that one thing, you're like, oh, it's not going to be on me. They would never do that to me.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, oh, but you're a good person in all these ways.
yeah,
I think it just comes to a place where you have to recognize, like, is this really working?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Does this serve
does
me?
this one thing that I see, is this a thing that's really worth like me holding on to for all these other things? Doesn't take anything away.
Right.
But it can at a certain point, and I think there are different seasons. I think in the seasons when I think as I got older, as I had a family, as I matured,
Word.
I think all of those things became a spotlight, and it was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
This
Mine
thing is not
ultimately
enough.
broke
Yeah.
when I had Brooks. That's how I know the time.
Yes.
Isn't that such a
Because
trip?
it was like all of these things were happening our whole lives.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They got worse as we got older, but there were things that were happening that were draining, and you know, and that, again, still a lot of love. But when I was pregnant, and certain things were like drama, it was just like, oh, I can't. I recognize that I do not have the patience. I don't have
Yeah.
the patience. I can continue to give love without letting it physically affect me, physically, emotionally, mentally affect me.
Yeah.
And that we were just I was gonna have to love her from afar.
yeah. You know what? So today is Chea and I's anniversary, and I think about the fact that we have been together, well, married for 8 years, but been together for 15 years. And Chea literally is like my best friend in the entire world. And he is such a perfect example of like love. And I often compare my friendships with other people, because me and Chea have a real friendship outside of like our marriage. And I think about one thing about him that he's taught me about like just real love and friendship is something he always says is he's like, you know, if I fall out with somebody or something, when I had the fallout the other day with the guy, he was like, you know, what's crazy is that when I let someone into my world, I let them be a part of my family, bring them into our home. Because like Chea and I don't let everybody come to our house. We're very weird about that. We're just not those people.
What's that man's name? Vince, the comedian.
Yes, we're like Vince Staples. Is that his last
Yeah,
name? The
yeah.
rapper?
He was
That's
like,
his
I
name?
don't,
Yeah.
I don't let nobody come over.
Yeah, that's Chea and I. If you've been to my house, that means I really like you, because that's like such a sacred space, and that energy in our home is like very precious to us. And so he was like, you know, once I become friends with someone, I extend a level of grace, of understanding, like of where they are, right? And I don't have an expectation of them, because he's like, for me, love is allowing people to go through the seasons, allowing them to go through their process. He's like, the only time that I decide when I have to end that relationship is when I feel like that person is now no longer deciding to grow. They're no longer continuing through the process. He's like, but when they're in a place that I'm not in, I can extend a level of grace. Like, they're not there yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And like Chea, I feel like the thing that has allowed us to stay together is what I put in my caption. And I think about all my prospering friendships is the same as I said, we would rather change behaviors before we change partners. And that's how I feel like all my friendships are that are successful, is that you have these moments where you're like, we're at an impasse, right? We've had an argument or or whatever. And in that moment, you decide like, this shit means more to me than me holding this stance.
Yeah.
Or even if I feel a way, I'm willing to extend a level of understanding where I can understand your point of view enough where we can move forward. And I feel like that's how you can ultimately decide who is deserving of you, who is deserving of your energy, is when you're clear that like this person is willing to meet me and we care more about our end goal. Me and Chea care more. He literally said to me yesterday, like, isn't it crazy we're going to grow old together? And I was like, that's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. And I was like, that's so beautiful because that's how we wake up. And he gets on my nerves a lot. You know what I mean?
I love when you say this because
He
sometimes I'm
does.
like, am I the only one that my man getting on my nerves?
Husbands are annoying. Sorry, men, but men are annoying. But the thing is that I recognize where that energy is coming from. I call Mel a lot. She helps me understand my air sign husband and just understanding like, this is not an adversity. Like, he's not doing this stuff because he hates me. Because we just think differently. And sometimes it's okay to eat stuff because you're like, it's not even that serious.
Yeah, and being able to know when like this is, this is a problem. I think my biggest thing is like, I always tell my bae, I'm like, I just want you to stand on the line with me. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm just asking you to show up and try. I'm like, if you don't show up and try, then that's when that's always my indication is like,
it's time to go.
Yeah, it's like, okay, then.
I told Ashely this. I was in the last relationship before Jared I was in was a very serious relationship, and we got to an impasse 3 years in. And we were living together. We were full steam ahead, and we got to a place where I was like, hey, I think we might need to take a step back individually, get some counseling, go to therapy. And he literally was like, I'm not talking to nobody. He's like, I'm very happy with who I am, and I do not want to work on being different. And that's when I knew the relationship was absolutely finished. And it was heartbreaking because I really thought like, this is the most mature relationship I've ever been in. But when he hit me with I don't want to change, I like who I am, even despite me coming to you saying, hey, these particular things about us is not working for me. It's very hurtful. It just was not important to him. And that was the indication. It was the hardest, but also one of the easiest breakups.
Yeah.
Because it was like when somebody does not want to work at the friendship, the relationship, when somebody has dug their heels into the ground and says, I'm not willing to move from this position, even to just hear you out with compassion, it's a wrap.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's actually a lot of freedom in that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, okay, well, great, shit. I ain't got to fight for nothing no more because I'm like walking into a brick wall, you know? So it actually is helpful when the other person on the other side is like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because I always say the nicest thing my ex ever did was be mean to me. No, he broke up with me. He was like, basically like, I don't see you. You don't exist. And I was like, well, I guess I got to move on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no...
To 15 years
I know.
of bliss and love and children and my future that I was destined for. So thanks.
Thanks for breaking my heart so someone else could heal it.
Whoop. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Chea.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
We're all gonna come in here with Chea shirts.
Yes.
Chia
Chia
seeds.
seeds. Nah, that's your
Lord.
children.
I know.
Right.
The children of the
pets?
chia seeds.
Y'all gonna be the chia pets?
Wait,
Oh,
can you
no.
please, can y'all dress up for that? I don't
Like
know
a
if I
chia
can.
Oh my
pets?
You
God.
guys should be Chia seeds.
Yo, that would be hilarious.
And imagine Chia's just like the big bag.
That would be hilarious.
Maybe you're like a cup of water. You know how you put the chia seeds in the water?
That would be hilarious.
No, I would have to be the soil.
Each one you
Okay,
guys be an
okay,
element
soil.
in the
Yeah.
chia.
We could each be a
the
process
seeds,
of
and then
watering.
you could dress her up, dress Tata up
Tata
as a
as a
little
seed.
chia lamb.
Oh.
The little chia lamb, just a little chia seed. Just get curly wigs and just put it all over her.
If y'all buy the costumes, we'll wear them.
Hilarious.
That's way too much work.
That's a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh Lord.
Like that ceiling
Well,
you did. That was a lot of work too.
that was,
sis.
but
That content was my favorite.
Thank
yeah,
you.
it was bomb. Your
good.
voice
even though I
over.
was stressed about you falling out that chair.
Girl, she is such a
She
mom.
said, "Don't ask me why I'm
I
standing
was
on my
very
good chairs
stressed.
because I don't have my husband and I don't have a
not my good
ladder."
chair.
When I watched it, I didn't watch it with audio, so I was only focused on the chair.
No, the audio is hilarious.
It's like, why, Ashely?
I just want to say that I love you ladies so much. And I think that for a lot of people as adults,
As a what?
Adults.
I can't. As adults, I think that it's really hard to grow. You know what I mean? Like we look at our parents sometimes and we're like, oh my God. You know, like I don't want to just be the same person at 60 years old. So I can say that I'm really grateful to have people in my life, my husband, my friends that are willing to grow with me, that extend me grace. You remember when I went off on y'all about the swishy jacket?
Yeah. Girl, I think about that randomly sometimes.
Me
I'm
too.
like, damn.
Not
I was like,
randomly.
she got so mad because like the other day I
too.
was in the elevator dumping the trash. And I was like, damn, I remember when she got mad at us about the swish.
I lost my Hey,
you know what? I
listeners.
feel less bad.
Good. There you go.
Was that on? Were we recording?
Yes.
So-
It was recorded in the other
Yes.
room.
Let me tell the listeners what
Like,
happened.
y'all not gonna tell me what to do?
So at that time, Chea and I were moving into, we were about to move into our house and we were living in a hotel and I was
stressed.
somewhere else
This baby was
and
stressed.
I had on a swishy jacket.
Said I was somewhere else.
and
Mentally.
I was somewhere else mentally.
You were so
and,
over
and,
it.
and Felicia was like, I think you
Wait,
should,
for clarity,
Oh,
she
okay.
had on like a windbreaker.
It's
A
windbreaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
A jacket that sounds like this.
Yeah.
That's very
Like
ridiculous.
she's
While
a
we're
damn
recording a
NFL player.
podcast.
I just want to
Doing
point out
warm-ups.
that these hoes have worn swishy pants to record as well. But okay, we're going to leave it there.
Yeah, but we
And
don't talk with our legs.
Yeah, and we don't talk. Yeah, it's like our arms.
I am a person about facts.
And
the
you're
fact
animated.
is, I'm
The
not
fact
the
is, your
only
legs
one.
don't talk. Your arms do.
Anywho,
we got it.
Felicia said, you should take that jacket off because it's making a lot of noise. And I lost my mind. I was like, you ain't going to tell me what to do?
Y'all not gonna tell me what to do
Oh.
She
today.
said, my husband don't tell me what to do. I'm not going to listen to y'all. I was like,
Wait, and then Cody had the best comeback. She
did I
said,
say?
damn, we didn't piss on your lawn or something like that. I remember the whole entire experience.
First of all, it was so awkward because it happened. There was like no real discussion about it. And then I just like, because
And
I'm
then she
crazy
took it
as
off?
hell. Yeah, I took my jacket off. We start recording. I was super pissed. But then later on, I was like, oh my God, but you're a Looney Tune. But I also realized I didn't tell you guys how stressed out I was.
Yes,
And
you did.
Well,
no,
there
not
was a
really.
period that she was like not articulating
Yes.
it.
Oh,
I think,
okay.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then also, but I did, and I felt like no one cared too. This is like when you say, no, I kept saying, we've run the take back like every episode. I'm depressed. But I think because I say all my feelings, people often like sometimes this is like maybe my trigger as a child, being my middle child syndrome. I feel like because I am always honest, I don't often feel like people are very delicate with me, which is why I'm hard. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
that
this
makes
is like
sense.
from my child.
But when we're
but the
delicate with
question
you,
is,
you're
yeah,
like,
I was
I'd
like-
rather cry in a closet.
Yes, but I was
Leave
just
me
gonna
alone.
say, but the question also too is how do you receive the attention?
Are you
'Cause
open to that?
No, I think I say that stuff because no one has ever cared about my feelings. So then I'll say my feelings and then I say I don't want people to take care of me because I've never felt taken care of.
So then
I
how
think
do
it's
people
like
care for you?
Yeah,
I
what does
don't-
that look like?
They don't. I mean,
you
I'm not
mean
saying
they
that you
don't?
guys don't, but I don't always feel like people baby me. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes I want to be babied and I think people think that I'm just really strong and I can deal with it. This is also something that, we talked about this fragile thing that I've had to reintroduce myself to my husband. And I'm like, Chea, I know that I always figure things out, but I'm actually in a really delicate state right now. Like I'm very sensitive. I need a lot of hugs. I want to be cuddled. And I had to listen. Nalo called me crying. She doesn't care if I share this. She called me crying because she was like, I feel like a horrible friend. She was like, I feel like you've been telling me. She's like, I literally was just sitting there one day thinking like, damn, I don't even check on Ashely. She's like, I talk to you we talk every single day. And she's like, I never am like, how are you doing? Like you literally have 4 kids. You just moved into your home. Like all this stuff is going on. She's like, I never ask how you're doing. She's like, I literally call you and talk to you about my issues and my problems. And then we hang up and I never am like, are you good? And she was like upset because she was like, I feel like such a bad friend. And I'm like, I love her and I know her heart and her intentions and she's not trying to be a bad friend, but I felt so grateful that she actually acknowledged the
like
fact
the
that she
awareness.
doesn't check on me.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was like, yeah, no one does. But I've gotten so used to being the friend that everyone leans on. I don't think people ever are like, does Ashely
Well, it's really funny.
need someone to lean on?
I know that you said you're not talking about any of us, but it's very interesting because I remember specifically being so worried about you around the time with the house.
You called me.
And I will call you multiple times. And every time, but it's funny because I'm like, you remind me so much of myself. Like, you know, when you're stressed out and you feel like you have all the answers, but you don't have all the answers, but then you don't want to hear what anybody has to say. And you like, so people don't know how to show up. So I would always just call and insert myself.
You did.
And be like, friend, just make sure, you know, this is a blessing. And you're like, yeah. I know, I'm not attached to anything. Yeah. And I'll be like, okay, I'm just making sure. And then it was probably, but also, I think we all know, like, okay, she's going to come to her senses. And then when, you know, you'd be like, yeah, I don't care that the stove is not in there. No big deal. I'm like,
we haven't had water for 3 months. It's fine.
I'm like,
it's not, Ash. It's not fine. It's okay.
I know.
Yeah. But then I think, but then you come to your senses, like, eventually once it's, because I feel like you handle stress the way that I do too, is like, I'm stressed out until I can't enjoy it until it's resolved. But then you had your moment, and I remember I called you one day, and then you finally cracked, and I was like, I'm so happy to hear you say this. I have been waiting for you to answer in this way. I think that was honestly like 2-3 weeks ago.
No, it was like you're good at that, Felicia. You will call me randomly and be like, I was just thinking about you, girl. You're all right. Hope you're not standing on a cliff.
What you doing over there, ma'am? Oh, I'm fine. Just
I do cry to you guys, and that's why I'm like, you guys are kind of exempt from that conversation, because I'm really good at like me and Cody typically will call each other about something that has nothing to do with nothing and randomly just bust out in tears. And they'd be like, all right, girl, I gotta go back to work.
Gotta get back to these kids.
Bye. And then Melanie does this ease in thing that she does. She just calls me, and I feel like she's like brainwashing me into crying. And then she'll just have all these conversations, and before I know it, I'm on the phone like boo-hoo crying to her, and she's just quiet. And then I'm like, okay. And then she talks me through my whole therapy session, and then we get off the phone, and I'm like, did she plan that? But you guys are really good at that. Like, I would never say that you don't care about me or you don't. I think you guys give me space and you allow me to like process my feelings. But for the most part, I think most people in my life think that I'm just fine all the time, and they don't ever think that I need help. And I'm like, I actually do. I tell my mom that. I was like, Mom, I still need my mom.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to call me and check on me. I'm not just the strong daughter who has it all. Like, I'm really stressed out. Every day I have 4 kids, I'm never going to not be stressed.
Word.
Yep.
Ever.
Yep. Yep.
Well, at least you're also articulating it to people, because even you saying like people in your life, I mean, we know that you're articulating to him because you just said it. Nalo called you proactively.
Yes.
So I'm also hearing that the people in your life are hearing you, and they're like being self-aware. And so
Hopefully.
I think that's good.
Or y'all might be my only friend.
I'm kidding. It's okay. The older you get, to realize that you don't really need that many
I
friends.
don't. I tell Amir that all the time. You just need 1 or 2 good friends. Everybody else is just somebody you go to the club with.
Acquaintance.
Until you stop going to the club.
There.
Or go once a year.
Right.
Going to the club.
See you annually.
Last time I went to the club was with y'all. Okay.
I know.
Oh my God.
And the only time in the
Club.
last decade.
The club.
All right. Well,
Right.
love you
I don't know what
too.
this
It was
conversation.
The, it was
I
the
don't
love.
know what this
It was
episode
the
is.
love
It's about love and
episode.
friendships.
And zodiac signs.
Love and happiness.
Yes. What's your zodiac sign?
Oh, 2 songs.
Yeah.
Remix. Hey.
All we need is somebody to lean on.
Oh, 4. I appreciate you ladies. I'm glad we had this talk, and until next time.
Until next time.
Talk to your friends.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Bye.
We did it.